Vince from Charlotte, North Carolina. He said, I've been catching up on some shows. I've heard you drop the hot start candidate line a few times for certain teams. Can you give me some examples of this? So Vince is asking which teams could really start fast this year. USC is one of them, Vince. USC will be, I think, solidly favored in their first 4 games. And here's what you need to think about. It's not about circling every team that you think is going to win their first few games. To me, take the teams that aren't going to be expected to contend, and I don't think many people are going to expect USC to contend. Which ones out of those groups of teams can start off hot? 4-0, 5-0? Well, I think USC can. They're going to win their first 2 games, and then they're on the road in the Big Ten, but it's Purdue, brand new head coach there in Barry Odom. They should win that game. Michigan State at home. They should win that game. It won't be until at Illinois, and I believe that is week 5. It's their 5th game, where the country may watch them. And then you'll really get your first look at them nationally. Week 7, it's their 6th game when Michigan comes to town. But my point is, honestly, they could be 5-0 when they play Michigan. And they play Michigan at home. They could be 6-0 when they go to Notre Dame. They could be 5-1 even when they go to Notre Dame. And that'd still be a huge game. So I think USC is a fast start candidate. I would also say Louisville is very much a hot start candidate. There's a solid path here to 5-0. Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, Bowling Green, at Pitt, Virginia. They ought to be 5-0. I trust Jeff Brom with any quarterback. I trust him with me at quarterback. So I especially trust him to get enough out of Miller Moss, who transferred in there, to win. Now notice, we're talking about hot starts, because eventually they got Miami, they got Clemson, they got SMU, but notice that Miami game. 2 things are funny about that. First off, it is their 6th game, but it's in week 8. Both teams will have already had 2 bye weeks by then. I don't know what the ACC did in schedule making this year, but it is really wild to look at how discombobulated the thing looks. The second thing you need to know about that Louisville-Miami game is it's a Friday night game. Miami hosted Virginia Tech on a Friday night last year, and it was the most chaotic, loosely like resembling a football game display that we saw last year maybe. So Louisville-Miami could be good, and Louisville could be undefeated when they play Miami. Ole Miss, let me cut in really quick and ask, look, prayer hands, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you think you're subscribed, check and make sure. Over 50% of you aren't. It's free, it doesn't sign you up for anything, and it helps us keep the show free, college football year-round, the way God intended it. All right, back to the clip. Kind of mentioned this earlier. I think Ole Miss, out of all the SEC teams, is the most solid hot start candidate. Now, there may be a lot of unknown. Defense, a lot of unknown. Quarterback, brand new starting quarterback, but unlike some of these other teams, they got Georgia State and then at Kentucky and Arkansas and Tulane, their first 4. Those aren't terrible teams per se, but they're 4 teams that Ole Miss should handle. They should beat all 4 of them. And then it gets a little more dicey, but Georgia has Tennessee and Bama in their first 4 games. Florida's got Miami and LSU. Bama plays FSU and Wisconsin. Texas got Ohio State week 1. A&M plays Notre Dame early. Ole Miss doesn't have a game of that caliber. So they're a hot start candidate. And in the Big 12, I think Brigham Young is a hot start candidate because we think in our internal grading system, Brigham Young may have the easiest schedule out of all the Power 4 teams this year, which their fans continue to take as an insult for some reason. I have no idea why. It's just one grading metric we use. And don't you want to play a workable schedule, by the way? So they start with an FCS team in Portland State. They play a terrible ACC team in Stanford. And then they got a G5 team at East Carolina. And then they play a couple of teams, Colorado and West Virginia, that are bottom half of the Big 12 in the odds market. It's very workable. By the way, when I tell you you've got the easiest schedule, I don't mean you have a ton of easy games. At Iowa State's not easy. Playing Utah, not easy. At Texas Tech, not easy. Relatively speaking, there aren't many teams at all that you would trade schedules with, that's all I'm saying. So give me USC, Louisville, Ole Miss, Brigham Young. Those are my hot start candidates.